So first of all, thanks again for having us. We will give you a short insight into our work. Thanks for inviting us, Katja Praschke, Thomas Tode, Gustav Hamasch, and thanks to Film Festival Dresden. And yeah, we are happy to be here and to give an insight into our work. I actually wanted to say something about our positions now, but you did that already. Thank you for that. And yeah, just to give you a short overview, we will show 2 videos today and 2 videos tomorrow. And yeah, I think we're ready to start, don't we?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so Fratzengulasch is a music video which was our first collaboration. You just asked for it, and it was in 2011. And Die Vögel means the birds, and it's a band from Hamburg with 2 members. It's Menserens and Jakobus Siebels. And we have a small introduction video as well. As you can see, Jakobus Siebels and Menserens are not only musicians but also excellent performers, and that's why we like to work together with them, and we have been working together with them for 10 years now. So it's a very close collaboration. This.
Yeah, that's actually, these are still images from a GIF we found in the internet. And the GIF is called Fratzengulasch.
It's the first thing that comes up when you Google Fratzengulasch.
And Fratzengulasch actually means face goulash, if you want to translate it. And that's a term from the party scene. If ravers take too much drugs like ecstasy and they can't control their faces anymore, the face starts to make funny movements. So it's like kind of a spasm. And yeah, that's a term, and the band took that term from the party scene and used it for the name of the song.
And you must already say that Die Vögel is an electro band playing raves, but very in a special way, because they use live instruments like trumpets and Blasinstrumente. The first word that I have to ask. What's Blasinstrumente in English? Like trumpets, horns, and so on.
Flutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Mense and Jakobus again. And yeah, we tried to reenact Fratzengulasch with them. We asked them if they can perform Fratzengulasch for us and filmed them.
And that's actually a sequence from material you will later see in the video.
Yeah.
Yes, but our main idea was something different. For this video, the basic idea was to use some special found footage piece that we found on a flea market in Berlin. We have to, okay. Also, we have to be careful with that. It's a panoramic photograph, probably from 1950s, made by the English company Panora Ltd. And yeah, you can see students and the staff of the Healy Grammar School, boys' school in Exeter, and it's probably from the 50s. Now, Kati points out the only woman in the picture. She's surrounded by approximately 300 men or boys. Yeah, so, but now we put this back because this is really fragile.
Hello, hello, hello. Yes, and so we had this beautiful image from the flea market, and the first idea we had was we want to make a tracking shot over the image, over the photograph, just all the way through the video, no editing, just one tracking shot, and therefore we digitalized the picture and then we printed it out again. And here on this piece of paper, we actually marked the first tracking shot we want to do later with digital devices, but this is actually like the first analog version of the video.
Because, and this is like the transformation for us from the film we did. We simulated a film, a panning shot through the picture, and then we translated this in another scale with a time code printed on it and some framing that because we wanted to do some zooming as well, not just only keep it at the same Einstellungsgröße. Framing size, so you can see those boys.
Hello, hello. So now we try to reenact the video in an analog way.
We pre-enacted. So there's 4 minutes and 50. That's the length of the song. And we wanted to start it out with 2 boys on that side over there and end up with these 2 boys over here.
Yeah, and you see the faces are marked, like with colors, and those, like after we plan to make the traveling shot, the tracking shot, we found out that it would be maybe interesting to take some details out of the image and make them bigger, like cut in between to have more action. So machen wir das? Nee, wir machen erst die.
Okay.
Erst die kleinen, ne?
Yeah.
So we copied out some details of the image.
So by this time we had a size. The picture was very small. Now we have, you can see my finger. now we have a size where we can start to scribble and draw into the picture.
Because that was actually the second idea. We didn't just want to do a tracking shot over the picture, but we also wanted to attack the image, to destroy it or to modify it, like this.
And later we plan to put it back together. And also we gave these printouts to Jacobus and Menze, who are even great art workers as well. And yeah, this some stuff that we did. This is like a very simple way, but I really like this kind of modification. Is the mustache, like Marcel Duchamp did with the Mona Lisa, or you can just see on ad busting or Wahlplakate heißt election posters. Yeah, very simple, but I think that's some kind of humor. Like there's another one, it's the glasses.
Another thought we had, it's like we wanted to show the disobedience of the pupils in the image, because they all look really, how to say, really in order and really strict, and we wanted to give some anarchy into the image and reenact the drawing of students on tables and in school books, so a bit more aggressive, maybe?
Because you must say this panoramic picture was taken in small sections, and it took a long time, and I guess those students had to stand there for 10 or 15 minutes in order to get a proper picture, and that's why this looked so staged, I guess.
And I think they're wearing school uniforms. So we tried out a lot of different styles, from pop art to more like surrealistic ways, student scribbling, Dadaism.
Because we wanted to have arrange something between fine art from the museum quotes or even just scribbling, kindergarten scribblings.
And because we also gave some of the copies to the musicians, we had actually 4 people working on that. So we collected, as you can see, a lot of different ways of modification, and the musicians took the papers on tour.
Since they're musicians, they are traveling around, going to places where they can play their instruments, and they told us that was funny moments when they were sitting in a train or in a plane next to other people they didn't know, scribbling in these photos. So this is a Gerhard Richter style from Menze.
Here you can already see how the video will end.
Because that's what we thought would be good if we just started out really plain and then it gets wilder and wilder, so it has a kind of dramaturgy to it.
Oh, this is actually what I did. I remember.
Me too. I think I did this. I'm not so good at this. Kati is better.
No, I think it's really nice.
I think later we cut some of those out and put them all together. I think. That's not in the film.
That's not in the film, but that's Menze as a child. I think this image you actually used to make advertisement for this.
This has more of a comic association to me. It really tells a small story at this one as well.
Oh, here's a real collage again. Yeah.
I think this one is in the...
I think that's yours, actually.
Yeah, that's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and then show you the next step of our pre-enactment. Well, yeah, this was our basic layer for the final collage that we used, and then we put all these small parts in there.
Yeah, also, like we showed you in the beginning, we filmed the musicians making Fratzengulasch, and we also added that to the painted photograph. So we had actually 4 different layers at least. It was actually quite a lot of work to get all these sketches together in the computer and then animate them.
And actually, we used lip sync as well because the song has words that that are being sung. And I think this was the first video where we used where I used lip sync
At all.
at all. And normally, a performance video is to sell the music, to show the band, and this is another way. And I thought it was really nice to play with this choir association that you have when you look at this big picture. And so we had started with rather subtle movements, and then the whole thing grew together more, but we can see.
Yeah, because this lip sync, doing music videos, it's always a topic because lip sync is kind of a taboo. But here we've, in a way, or we always discuss if is there lip sync or not, because
Is there another possibility?
yeah, can you avoid that, because sometimes it's too plain. But here it was good to have some relation between image and music. So we're gonna show the video now. Ich verblühe, ich verblühe. Seht, wie ich verblühe. Ich verblühe, ich verblühe. Seht, wie ich verblühe. Ich verbrühe, ich verbrühe mich. Ich verblühe, ich verblühe. Seht, wie ich verblühe. Ich verblühe, ich verblühe. Seht, wie ich verblühe. Als mittelständischer Warhol in meinem Selbstverwaltungsalltag an Tagen ohne Tageszeit und epochefreien Jahren wünsch ich mir ein Riefenstahlbad oder ein anderes Erweckungserlebnis, eine Propaganda der Tat oder wenigstens eine Pizzafahrt. Ich verglühe, seht wie ich verglühe, er verglüht, er verglüht. Ich verblühe, ich verblühe, seht wie ich verblühe, er verblüht, er verblüht. Ich verblühe, ich verblühe. Seht, wie ich verblühe. Er verbrüht, er verbrüht. So the next video we would like to show you is Ich verblühe by Die Goldenen Zitronen. And Die Goldenen Zitronen, in English the Golden Lemons, are a punk funk band from Hamburg city. And they started in 1980s already. In Germany, they're quite well known for their political approach and their music, and they're still working and producing music. So they made this album in 2013.
Yeah, and do you want to show the album? It was called Who is Bad, and the artwork was designed by Daniel Richter, who is a long-term friend of the band members. And it had 15 tracks on it. And the basic idea was to make a music video for every song on there, because I think, when I remember it right, at that time on YouTube, anybody could upload songs to there. And everybody did that, or some people did that, and they just put some random pictures oftentimes to there. There's some good fan videos as well, some interesting, but they didn't want to have their songs published with some random pictures, so they thought, let's do a video for every song. And we did 8 videos for this. I think we didn't make more, but it's and this video is Ich verblühe. And the basic idea for Ich verblühe means I'm withering, I'm fading away like a flower. I must say Blüte, the German word blossom, also is the name for counterfeit money. And the basic idea for the video for the song was to work with banknotes, to work with old banknotes.
So this is an old banknote. This is $1, one Zimbabwean dollar. This is 50 Zimbabwean dollar. This is 100 Zimbabwean dollar. This is 500,000 Zimbabwe dollar. This is 200 million. And this is $100 trillion. This is 1 pound, 1 Egyptian pound. This is 10 Cuban pesos. 100 Reals from Yemen. This is money from Zambia, from Eritrea, from Congo, from Bangladesh, from Gambia, from Suriname, from Germany, Israel, and Belgium. And you might know who this is. You might also know who this is. But do you know what she actually is doing on there? Or do you know the story behind that mask? Or where do they look to? And why is a squirrel on this note? Do you know his name? How old are they now? So you remember this first money here with the 3 stones? I know the story behind those 3 stones because this is, as I said, Zimbabwean money, and this money was printed in 1980, and that was the time when the country got independent from the white-ruled Rhodesia. And this is actually very special in the countryside of Zimbabwe, close to Harare. There are those 3 stones, and they are in a natural balance, so they don't fall. And it's actually kind of a miracle that they don't fall. And you find those stones formations around Harare a lot. So that's kind of a symbol for the new stability in the country and the independence. That's why they printed it after the independence.
And that was interesting in this video to take a look at those banknotes, because banknotes often have their patterns printed on them that are supposed to guide or secure their currency. And at the beginning it was more gods, goddesses, or saints, and nowadays it's more personalities like politicians or dictators or scientists, but also, like, you could see animals or inventions or historical moments. Yeah, but all these symbols are supposed to protect and to strengthen the belief in this narration that this money is worth something. But these are mostly old banknotes, and we looked at the banknotes and the people on the banknotes, and after a while, now that this banknote is a former banknotes, we kind of looked into their eyes and thought they looked a little bit sad as well, as if they had become aware of their impertinence, or that was kind of a look that we had making the video, these portraits and the looks in their eyes. And we took those banknotes and added them together, and also made some additional lip sync with Manzarins, the guy who you already know from the Vögel, because he plays in both bands. You can see the Hamburg music scene is very close. And here's some making of footage that we recorded him with green screen and inserted him into the banknotes, and made him sing or comment the situation. We had a lot of these gags in the beginning that were sort of like Monty Python intro opening scene, but later we took them back again, because we thought it would be even nicer to see banknotes and listen to the music, I Am Withering, than just put it all together with many gags or anything. So that was the first video that we took back some ideas, actually. Switzerland, that's the holy, or that's the holy, the St. Martin, yeah. Dividing his coat, genau. That's just the eyes of men. Sometimes they're just blinking. So you just said, what did you say? Make the photos alive, or just a little bit in a subtle way. Yeah. And now we show you the whole video? No? Ah, we take a closer look. I'm sorry, I forgot that. And also, that's the we have had some formal aspects. When if you look really, really close at the banknote, it's really interesting. You see colorful structures, and that are very interesting. That's what I think is so special about banknotes. The closer you get, the more interesting it gets for me. And this is actually a copy protection. And nowadays, I found out that there's a digital copy protection as well. That is, I think there's 35 currencies actually now that they are in the chips of scanners and printers, so they're not able to copy banknotes. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know actually how it works, but it recognizes the muster, the pattern, and then it's blocked. Yeah. So and there's Mense again, and that's the point when I stopped and started to talk about Mense in the film. But now we can take a look at the video, probably.
Ich verblühe, seht wie ich verblühe. Ich verblühe, seht wie ich verblühe. Ich verbrühe mich. Ich verbrühe. Ich verblühe, seht wie ich verblühe. Mittelständischer Warhol in meinem Selbstverwaltungsalltag, an Tagen ohne Tageszeit und epochefreien Jahren wünsch ich mir ein Riefenstahlbad oder ein anderes Erweckungserlebnis, eine Propaganda der Tat oder wenigstens eine Butterfahrt. Ich verglühe,
Thank you. So yeah, today we showed you two videos of our work, both kind of work with found footage. And while we were working on those two videos, we thought a lot about appropriation art, about taking an original image and then digitalizing it and making a copy of it and modifying it, destroying it, and also renewing it at the same time. So we would like to hand over to you again. Maybe we can talk about some of those topics. Thank you.
Should we first like clean up the tables and arrange the chairs, or Okay.
What do you think? You need a table?
Yeah, for me, it would be okay if I just stand here, actually, or is it just? I don't know. Oh, you want us to sit here?
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I really would like to tell something about Fratzengulasch. There is I would like to make some remarks before everybody starts to speak.
Yeah.
And now because when I was I have seen this video many times and I really loved it. It was always nice to show in this in the series of photo films because it's something different. Okay, so I was saying also that you blew life into the still image if you animated. That was the sentence. But what I was thinking now about the word Fratzengulasch, that I don't know what it is in English. Fratze is a grimace. Grimace, okay.
Funny face?
Okay, so grimace is quite good, okay. But goulash is something different, right? And I have to tell something about it because I am Hungarian, so I was born in Hungary and I know that word. Everyone knows that it's coming from Hungary. And it's an interesting coincidence, probably, that the Guya is actually a herd. It's a whole lots of animals. And the Guyash is someone who taking care of those animals. So this is an interesting coincidence that you have this choir, which actually a kind of Guya, you can say. And you are probably then the one who taking care, so the Guyash. But it means obviously something completely different. So I was just really wondering, because I've never heard about it before, that if you take too much speed or whatever, ecstasy, then the Fratzengulasch is starting occur in your face. So where this notion is coming from? What's the origin of Fratzengulasch as
it's
a
really
term?
the band just told us. I also I saw people having Fratzengulasch maybe, but didn't know that was called like this. And yeah, the band just told us that they heard this saying or this word and they liked it, and
It's funny, but in the end, it's also a soup, right? So you cook it. I mean, the goulash is, the one who is taking care of this head of animal, they are cooking the soup, and that's the goulash, right?
I think they also like that idea of a goulash is something you cook for a really long time, and it's really tasty, really intense food, really like meat. It's like, I think that's what they also liked about it.
Yes, and this is also what you do with your video. You just cooked it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, maybe we just continue to talk a little bit about the two videos we have seen. For me, there's something terrible or fearful or even monstrous in the structures of which you are showing, not in the individual faces, but we see these structures, these patterns, these the school, the photo. We have this photo of the school pupils, and for me it talks about violence, about school order, rules, even obstruction of individuals.
Disobedience.
Yeah, disobedience. Yes, of course, of course. No? They are suppressed, no? As you already said, and they are put down. The individually is put down, no? by the system, no? And in such a world, it's a subversive gesture to sing, to open the mouth when the teacher is not looking, not controlling, and that's very fine in your video, because we have this subversive gesture, and you are doing it instead of the pupils, of course, and also the scribblings. That's what every pupil is doing during boring school hours, scribbling on every table which is available, and so I would like to ask about this. The way how you work with images, how you subvert images. You turn them around like a glove or a secret agent, as I learned. You are a secret agency. So
I think one of our basic methods is to find contrasts fore and background, or even you have the stiff school photo, and as I told you, they had to stand a long time and just pose like this. Some are even blurred, but it has a certain stiffness in this music. Coming from a rave party context is the complete different, and even the scribbling into it. So I think this is basically something that always creates something surreal. If you put two things together that are completely different, then it has a surreal moment, probably. Or what do you think?
Yeah, I think so too. It's kind of a reaction. Actually, you have this image as the starting point. Timo found it on a flea market, and then it's like cooking. Actually, it's like it needs more salt, and they look too stiff. They really need to be freed out of that discipline and out of this straightness. And how Timo said, the biggest contrast is to draw, like to take all the childish energy and put it on that. Like it's actually a reaction always on what is the basic material we find, and then like add something on, or it's like a comment.
Yes, so contrast is also to look for revolting something, to find something which is inside but not still exploded.
Yeah, and I think it now it's 10 years old, the video now, and I kind of I found this picture and I googled it. Oh, it's Exeter, it's maybe 20. First I thought it was around 20s, but now I found out it must be 50s, because anyway, reworking this picture, I totally forgot what the original was, and after 10 years later, I now kind of feel a little bit guilty not knowing where this picture comes from. And now if I come back from Dresden, I will find out, I promise you. Because that's something different, and that's something special about photo films. You have a material and you start, like you did, you interpret it, or bring up your own thoughts, and that's what I think we feel about these works is, as you change throughout time, after 10 years, you might think totally different about this piece of work, or about the origin of the material or something. That's something,
And also working on the video is also kind of a process. So it's first the object, the image, and then the idea, okay, maybe it's nice to have a tracking shot. Like we tried to explain today as well, like it's really like working on top and like always trying to make it, like always shaping it actually like a sculpture or something, like taking something away there. Okay, then you need to add something here. And so it's kind of growing like an organism or something.
Yeah, but is it trial and error, or how would you describe it? Is it it's working on the subject, of course, and but you sometimes you say, okay, we left that aside, we didn't use that, it was not funny. But how do you work together? That's maybe the question behind it. As a collaboration, as two people we have here, also Katja and Gustav, who are married couple working together, but that is rare. Yeah, not married, okay, but in a way. And also Hubert Fichte and Leonore Mau, but that's a rare case. But you are working also together as collaborators, and what is the advantage of it? Or is there something which he does very well, or which Kati does very well? Maybe
Of
you can
course,
describe
yeah.
a little bit how you work together.
I think we're both now after working together for 10 years, we learned from each other, but we started out with a big contrast, I guess. You were a little bit more, you studied art and you did paintings as well. You do work with costumes and music videos. And my idea of filming, I come from the editing, and then I always just think of concepts of pictures that I could create to get them into the editing. That's more, to make collages with moving pictures, and you already do collages with still images, right?
Yeah, I think you are really good in the concept. You always have really precise ideas of the concept, and I think that's something you're strong in. And also the technical aspects of putting this together was really technical difficulties.
But not scribbling.
Yeah,
Scribbling, not too much. And then also how I described, it's a process, and for that it's really great to be two people, because you can talk and you can discuss and you can fight. We fight a lot, actually. And that's nice. I mean, we both work on our own as well, and it's so great to have someone to actually be in the process together, so you can talk about ideas and say something, and then the other one can take it up and continue thinking on it. And also this one was the first one, so this was really new. Fratzengulasch was the first one, and it was really like we took a lot of time, and we really didn't know what will come out in the end. And now after 10 years, I think we already have some vocabulary or some ideas, or tomorrow we will show a film we did last year. So when we got asked by the musician, we already knew, okay, we both like the music without talking to each other. And then Timo, I think, always wanted to do something with postcards. So he said, should we do something with postcards? And I already had an imagination what it could become, because we already worked a lot together since Fratzengulasch. So I think that's great. In collaborations,
I
you
think
continue.
it's always an experiment when we do a video. There's videos that we don't show here because we thought maybe they're not so strong enough to discuss them here.
Yeah, I mean,
That's also, it's like you said, the workshop was called How to Make an Award-Winning Music. There's no recipe, and it's always an experiment rather than just a scheme that you repeat over and over.
of course, and the postcard video became totally different than maybe we had the first expression of. But I just what I tried to explain is that we continued working in that way, and yeah.
And speaking of collaboration, you already told us that you collaborate with the members of the band.
Yeah.
So you include them and already in finding ideas, I suppose. But maybe you can describe that a little bit. How is it? Do they see from time to time different versions, or do they get presented at the end the best one you both could present? How does that work?
Mainly we do videos for bands from Hamburg, actually people we know from bars, or you go to cinema together and talk about a film or something, then you talk about your own work. Or we did videos where you just write an email to other musicians, and then they just write you something back. But I think the process to have a talk, and then they would see, normally they send you the song, we make, that's basically our way to work, is a mood film. So we would collect pictures maybe from a different film scene, or and first we have to figure out how does this work with the music, with the rhythm, with the lyrics, with the with atmosphere of the song, and then from there we start talking with them and develop the video. If you work with found footage, then you can take a look at the picture and listen to the song, and then you start talking about it. It's something different than when you record the footage yourself. So yeah.
You're doing both, yeah?
Yeah, we do
Yeah.
both, but but I think we made at least 10 found footage videos or so. So we could say we have, that's like a genre of our work that could be, that's strong.
Yeah, and it's kind of our fun project, I would say. It has mostly not a lot to do with money or with, like, we love the musicians, we love the music. They are mostly our friends, or we know them in private, and it's like we love to spend time with them and to start artistic collaboration. That's why we get into the project. And that's also to answer actually your question. They see raw cuttings of the video, and they are part of the process. And that's actually nice.
And that your videos are very playful, experimental, cheerful. Has that to do with the genre of video clip, or is it something different? Is that just by chance?
I think it's a it's a humor. It's a question of humor, and I think you can't borrow humor. Either you have humor or not.
That's
Is it sometimes it's already in the music? No, that's because you don't add sounds to the music. It's only.
we do
we
sometimes.
do, okay.
Well, sometimes and by on Denken Sie groß vom Deichen or other videos, we have our own sounds that come from the pictures maybe, and then it's, you always have to ask the band and say, okay, if we turn down the music for a while, and we work with bands where there's no problem because they'd rather like a good music video than just the proper pictures to their songs or something. But a music video, and that maybe to your question, is always, and now I don't have the word, angewandte Arbeit. So there's
Applied.
so there's always music first, always, and then you have to come up with the idea, and that's something that's not so free as maybe if you start to draw a picture just by, I don't know. But I think we found ways and strategies to make it, strong works themselves, not just being, just having a purpose or just to sell the music, but to stand for itself. I think that's the.
And actually, in the sense of humor, because actually there's both. Yeah, it's on, but it's not working. So, because you said they are joyful, but I see in both videos there's this two sides, like you said, the money, the gaze of the people. It looks somewhere in the emptiness, or their time is already over, you know, from the banknotes, and also in this panorama. You said it's from the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
So these are young men. The war just is over, like 1945, you know. So this is a big difference. These people.
That's what I found out. They might be still alive, some of them. But if it's the 50s, I always thought it was the 20s. So, and that was something completely kind of sadness in me watching this again, because maybe some of those guys are still alive, and we made a music video out of this material.
Yeah, and the teachers maybe were teachers during the Nazi area. So there's in this kind of group pictures from this time, there is still this discipline, some kind of like they are trained in this image to stand, you said, for 15 minutes, because the panorama takes 15 minutes to be shot, you know. So I think there's humor, there's also dryness, because the music is quite dry also, you know. It's not the music, this Ich Verblühe is always on the same level of singing, you know, this kind of undercooked sound, and then you have these people and faces and politicians and dictators who are looking somewhere with empty eyes, and very often they look down, actually. Not Mandela looks up, but the others, they look down. Yeah, I thought there's both in both videos, actually. It's not just joy, but humor, I think is the right word. I wanted to ask if you are collectors, because you said you bought this panorama. So at your place, do you have an archive, or is this something you look for the video?
I mean, I think we spent hours for preparing this masterclass, founding some finding some pieces that we could show here, because we have a lot of boxes with a lot of stuff that we didn't use, and I think when we go back, that's the other thing, we have to get our archive freshed up again.
Yeah, to organize the stuff a bit better, because the project is over and then the stuff goes in one box and then it disappears. But actually we don't have too much images we haven't used. I think there are some, but maybe you have some old. I have this old photo book of a woman from the 50s as well, who went to USA, for example. I always want to make something out of that. I mean, there are some pieces, and you have also some old Super 8 films and stuff.
Yeah, a couple that always photograph them in the same position in different places in the world and stuff. So you collect them and maybe wait for the right situation or to do something with it. And there's some of those things are there.
But mostly I always, because working with materials so often, also with costumes and stuff, I always feel like I need to throw it away if I don't. I mean, all these things are really important, and we will nicely store them after returning.
Come to a museum, I suppose.
Yeah,
one
but
day.
all the other stuff, sometimes I always feel if you start collecting everything, you get so heavy and so closed up in the head, actually, because you always have these projects which have to be done, and they are like getting heavier and heavier, and so I always try to throw away.
Yeah, but there's one image which is intriguing me at the end. Now you show the working place and the materials, these long Xerox. What was it about? How does the idea come up? And because I love
That's
that,
my flat, actually, where we produced the video. And you want to tell the story?
Actually, we had a little fight with the label, and they wanted the song to be longer. And then we thought, when the song has to run longer, then what can we show? And then that's when we thought, okay, the video is over here. We won't change that, but maybe there could be another
ending,
extension of this picture, because that's all we did with animation. And that was this kind of making of scene, because this was actually a long process compared to other music videos, because that's something special about music videos. You always have 4 to 3 weeks, and then you have really deadline, and they have promotion, or you have to. So this is always something small, short time, but very intensive work. And this was like 2 months or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least. Yeah.
And I don't know. Maybe that kind of for us had made das so. Maybe that's why you could see a making of, because the process was so important to us, or something. Or it was a diary a picture from our private or from our working space on top or something.
Yeah, and also the archive, because we were talking about the archive. You see what you have done, you see this long series, and you understand how it was done. No?
Yeah, the way of the way of producing, like we opened up actually our workspace.
And it becomes part of the original film.
And I must say, now we show our board, and that's something that we still work with. We always have either magnetic boards, or like we had strings across and then we always have Wäscheklammern, small clips too, and then we put everything. I mean, probably everyone does that when he's working, but that's something really essential to our works. You always have to have like a scheme that you work on, and even if it's a video with that you create the footage yourself, and
So you also quit the frame of the image and showing the room. In the panorama, even if it's a collage, we are always in the image.
Yeah.
You know, even if we see, okay, there are pieces, it's getting more abstract and overpainted, but we're always in the image. And the moment when we see this, the working space, we are out of the image, but it's still an image.
Yeah.
It's not a moving image. It's still a photograph.
It
We're
was
moving
a
out of a
photograph,
photograph.
Mm.
Yeah. And this is just, I understood just now, you know. I
Yeah.
always thought, okay, this is maybe a moving, you know, like
Yeah.
zooming back and, but actually it was also a photograph, so it's like going out of the photograph into the next photograph.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it becomes more material again, or
It's like a matrushka, actually, you know, this doll with, where you open up and there's another doll, and
Yeah, talking about the materials, many of the materials you use are from popular imaginary, from popular culture, from the mass media. There's a film with Panini photos of a footballer, or stamps even, or at least banknotes.
stamps is like something.
Yeah. But you understand, it's from
Everyday objects, or
Yeah. And what is the idea behind? Because is it you said also sometimes you're doing the footage, your own footage, no? But sometimes you use something, found footage, still images, no? Like these materials we have just talked about. And how is the relationship between these different kinds of images? How do you think about them? It's just in function of the video. It's because, for example, you told us the false money. That was the first idea, because Verblühen and Blüte. No? It's an association in a way. It's that you have one association, and then the whole imaginary was there already. Of course, you worked on it, but the sources were there. How do you relate to these still images, to the photos, to the materials, which are not always photos, but also graphic design and so on?
I think maybe because it's almost more political or something. I'm not more political, but if you use something you use every day, or it has a context in your everyday life, and you work with that, then it has this special context, which is codiert, with it's coded with, and if you take a photo, and that's why I now always scheitere, fail, is if I just take a photo that I'm moved by or something. I can't just make a music video out of it, but it's rather good for me to have this is an object as well, which has this in this context in our everyday life, or even like the former banknotes used to have. But yeah, that's what I thought is an interesting twist to the material.
it's also like this collateral beauty of everyday life objects, because they actually have a function, and they are kind of archiving so much of our world in these functional objects or designs or images or techniques. And it's maybe it's a bit like a Dadaistic point of view, to take it out of their context and then replace it, and I think we are not afraid of taking mass media or mass culture objects or gifts, or like, something which is not from the high art or the fine art, but from the mass media, and then we are not afraid to take it and to modify it and to make something out of it, and pretend or just use it.
Yeah, and because there's already something inscribed in these objects, which
Yeah.
comes
That's
from
the word,
society,
Yeah.
which is the structures of the school terror, or which is the layout of these banknotes, or the series of the Panini footballers. And in the idea of series, there's already something cruel, or could be something cruel and terrible.
Yeah.
And you are trying to find these elements, to put them in
Yeah,
front.
everybody knows those moments where you've been photographed as a school group and you need to stand still, or everybody has a note in the hand. Like, it's something everybody knows or can feel, or it has a relation to it.
But also there are representative pictures, like money, postcards. They show the
Yeah.
beauty of a place,
Yeah.
or the ideal of a state, for example, in
Yeah.
the case of money, or Panini pictures, the collection
true.
of the
But
best footballers,
Yeah,
That's that's things, because that's the word representation. We thought of a topic that it could put these videos that we showed today, could describe these two videos, and that's representation was one of the words that we came up with. And then there's also, I think, postcards, an interesting aspect for tomorrow is that's stock photography. So you can buy a picture of a place and then do something with, like send it to somebody or something. And some of these objects have had functions, like money or a school picture is it's a memory that you take this picture on purpose, and it's a certain style, and it has a stiffness as well, because that's what you did from first grade to college again and again every year, because it's a certain has a certain function. Ritual.
Okay, I think that's a good closing word, because we will have a small pause, 15 minutes, and then we come back with Janie and we look together at the works of Janie.